to just start off with some quick introductions. We're going to have the board members introduce themselves, and I can start first. So my name is Kenesha Jackson, but you can call me CJ. That's what everybody calls me. I am this year's board president, and I also chair the governance committee as well. And I'm super excited to be on with you guys today. I'll take it away. Let me see. Eric, how about you go next?
I was thinking maybe I would go last and then I could segue into the community agreements and minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Peggy?
Good evening, everyone. Peggy O'Neill, and I'm board treasurer, and I'm on the governance committee. And I am a sunsetting board member after nearly 6 years.
Whoever wants to go next, please do.
Sure, I can jump in. Hey, everybody. My name is Kyle Creevy. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. This is my first year on the board. I'm also on the governance committee as well with CJ and everyone here. And just looking forward to continuing the works for the next couple of years and seeing where it goes.
I'm happy to go next if I can get myself off of mute. My name is Alice Kennedy. I have been on the board for a couple of years. I do also serve on the governance committee with Kyle and CJ. I just, have been having such a great time being on the board. And I'm just like, I feel so lucky for the privilege of doing that for the past couple of years and serving the community in that way. So thanks to everyone who got me here, and I will hand it off to Mike.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Eigenbrode. I am on our owner linkage committee. I'm also a co-op employee. I think I've been on the board a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And yeah, this is going to be a great annual meeting. I'm excited to be here.
Others
Yeah, I think
out there who haven't gone yet? Is that everybody but me?
I think that's
everyone.
Okay, so I'm Eric DeLuca, secretary of the board, and that's why we're going to do the minutes piece. I'll be helping with that in a second, but also chair the bylaws committee, and really happy to be with everybody. And as a group of 35,000 people who own this business, we are a community. And then tonight, we're a little community getting together to do this thing that all co-ops do everywhere. You kind of got to do it. And so here's some sort of ways we can think of ourselves as a community from the perspective of what we agree when we say we're a community. We honor and celebrate our collective wisdom. Together, we know a lot. We're mindful of our power, privilege, and how much space we're taking up. We take responsibility for impact regardless of intent. We give grace to one another and approach conflict with curiosity. We challenge assumptions, respect our differences, and speak from our own experience. We take care of our own physical, mental, and emotional needs, and we meet each other where we are. So we'll add that into what we're agreeing to now, which is the minutes from last year's annual meeting. Both the environmental, social, and governance program manager and I reviewed contemporaneous notes from last year's annual meeting, and we respectfully submit the minutes which are in the packet for this annual meeting. And you can find that if you pre-registered for the meeting, it's in the packet that came along with your RSVP and ticket. And if not, I believe Mike can put in the chat, if he hasn't already, the link to the packet on the co-op's webpage, and you can find it within there. So I will go ahead and make a motion that we approve the 2025 annual meeting minutes.
Let's second that.
Go ahead, CJ.
Any discussions? Any changes? Any discussions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it, so moved. Thank you.
So I think we're going to go back to you, CJ.
Yeah. So thank you, Eric, for that. And thank you, everybody, for introducing yourselves. So we're just going to go through some quick Zoom guidelines. So just So everyone knows this meeting is being recorded. So please mute yourself unless you're speaking. If you have any questions, you can save your questions for the Q&A session. And you can either raise your hand or post your question in the chat. Mike, you can raise your hand. He introduced himself, but he's here to help monitor if you have any questions. Okay, he's there waving. All right. And so, all right. So we went through the community agreement, and I just want to just talk to you a little bit about what the board has been up to this year, and just mainly discuss board culture and where we started and where we're going from there. So, this year, the board made a deliberate decision to turn inward and focus on strengthening our culture. We recognize that to effectively serve the co-op's mission, we must first become the kind of board we aspire to be: thoughtful, inclusive, aligned, and future focused. Our goal has been to cultivate a positive and inclusive board culture that reflects our shared values, supports our strong governance, and positions us to lead with clarity and purpose. This work is not separate from our mission. It is foundational to it. So those are the things that, as far as our culture, we decided to turn inward and just reflect and focus more so on the board that we aspire to be. So with that being said, we've been busy this year, and we've done a lot of good work, a lot of reflecting, and I'm excited to report to you on the work that we've done this year. So just going over some of the things that we've been working on. So listening to member owners' values and feedback. Over the past year, the board has engaged in thoughtful process to better understand member owner perspectives on the co-op's visions and values. So the Owner Linkage Committee presented a comprehensive summary of insights from 2024 member owner survey and additional 2025 feedback. The board participated in facilitated discussions, including breakout sessions, to explore key themes and reflect on what we heard. A dedicated value statement subcommittee developed preliminary recommendations to update the co-op's value statement. Oh, sorry. Grounded in member owner input. In partnership with operations, the board continues to deepen its understanding of member owner needs and aspirations with particular attention to priority areas such as affordability. Strategic planning. So just to talk a little bit about the strategic planning process, the 3 to 5 year vision plan. Over the past several months, we have been engaged in a structured strategic planning process focused on strengthening the co-op and enhancing our impact over the next 3 to 5 years. This process has included engagement across multiple stakeholder groups: employees, members and shoppers, business and food system partners, and the board. Through this work, we have synthesized feedback into key themes and are now moving into aligning those insights with actionable priorities at the business level. So key themes from stakeholder engagement. Across all groups, several consistent themes emerged: a desire for greater clarity and visibility into projects and priorities, a continued emphasis on delivering values to our shoppers and the broader community, the importance of clear, consistent, and transparent communication, both internally and externally. So moving right into operational insights and strategic direction. At the executive level, we conducted a SWOT analysis. Sorry, Eric, did you have something to say? At the executive level, we conducted a SWOT analysis to better understand the co-op's strengths, challenges, opportunities, and risks. This work has helped identify patterns and influence how we operate and where we can focus for the greatest impact. Key insights include a strong opportunity to define and implement a clear, focused strategic direction, a critical connection between employee experience and shopper experience, improving one's strengths strengthens the other, the co-op's shared value and role within, the regional food system remain a key differentiator and area of both responsibility and opportunity. As an established and thriving cooperative, we are uniquely positioned to lead within our sector and drive meaningful long-term impact. And last but not least, values update, member communication. We want to sincerely thank our member owners for their thoughtful input on the co-op's vision and values through surveys and ongoing feedback. Over the past year, the board has carefully reviewed and reflected on this input. We are currently working on a redraft of the value statement, which will be shared with the membership for consideration and future vote. All right. Thank you. Are there any questions regarding anything that I just mentioned? Any discussion around that? All right. Well, I will hand it off. Thank you.
So I think we're going to Amanda next. Is that what we got?
Yes. So Amanda, thank you.
Great. All right. You can hear me okay? My mic is working. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Amanda Sharland. I am the general manager at the co-op. I will be honest, until a few hours ago, I had an entirely different speech prepared for tonight. So shocking, probably to no one that knows me. But as I was watching headlines keep pouring in, I found myself thinking about our co-op and how inspired I am by the people here and how the way that we operate gives me hope. So I thought that that would be a really good premise for my talk tonight. I talk a lot about why being a cooperative business is different, but lately I've been thinking more about just the cooperation piece of it, because really the practice of cooperation is a skill. And that skill feels more important right now than ever, at a time where it feels like everywhere we look, there's division, compromise is harder, people are more entrenched in positions rather than working toward shared solutions. I find myself thinking about how unique and powerful it is to be a part of something entirely built on cooperation. I've worked at this co-op for 15 years, and I believe even more passionately in our cooperative model today than I ever have before, because I believe that it shows the best parts of humanity. I think it's an incredible demonstration of how people can work together and how we can compromise to build something meaningful. I think it's Dawn, our marketing director, who's on the screen tonight, who often jokes that compromise is where everyone walks away feeling mildly disappointed. And for those of you who know Dawn, I clearly just censored that for a PG audience. But she is absolutely right. I think that's really true. Compromise is a core piece of cooperation, and that means that cooperation isn't always neat. It's almost never easy, and it requires listening, adjusting, and sometimes letting go of being completely right in order to build something together. And what we've built together is actually pretty remarkable. We are the second largest cooperative grocer in the country and the second oldest. We're celebrating our 90th year this year. If you can't tell from all the awesome, I think I'm pointing at the screen. And on top of that, grocery retail is one of the most challenging businesses out there. Margins are thin. The global food system is complex and often pretty stable. Climate change is impacting supply and costs, and often it's in unexpected ways. Layered on top of all of that, we're striving to operate in a way that is socially responsible and doing so with very little money compared to other businesses. Add to that we have roughly 360 employees and 35,000 owners. So if I package that all together, if I told you we're going to have 35,000 owners guiding a business run by 360 people operating on razor thin margins in one of the toughest industries during an uncertain economic time, and that we're also going to invest in food access and local farmers and employees' well-being and community programs, it sounds bonkers. I sound bonkers. And yet, not only are we doing it, we're doing it really well. Our business is in a really healthy position. And that has allowed us to create some really incredible community impact this past year. While that can seem like magic, it's really just the messy skill of cooperation. Our teams are rolling up their sleeves, working together across departments, across locations, across roles and responsibilities, launching programs to support people in our community, responding to feedback from our owners, supporting fellow employees, building relationships with local farmers, finding ways to make good food more accessible. When I step back and look at all that our team has accomplished, I have never been more proud to be a part of this organization. And honestly, I wish that more of our world would emulate what happens here. People showing up to work together, to navigate differences, to create something absolutely remarkable. We are literally and metaphorically feeding so much of our community. So with that, I just wanted to share a few highlights from this past year and recognize the incredible teams behind them. There were really three primary areas that defined our work this year: supporting our employees, making food more affordable, and supporting local. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. It's only a glimpse at some of the great things that happened this year. So first, on supporting our employees are absolutely amazing, period. They are what makes this business what it is. They're also amazing in that they're supporting one another, stepping up when needed, working together to keep this organization strong. So this year, we've made a number of meaningful investments in our people. For the third year in a row, we've absorbed the majority of healthcare increases. In a time where the costs continue to rise, that was a deliberate decision to provide stability and support to our team. We rolled out a new wage chart and pay transparency policy to create more clarity and equity in how we pay employees, and we continue working to increase wages across the organization. Because of the stronger financial performance we had last year, we were also able to distribute what I think is one of the largest employee profit shares in recent memory. So we were able to share that success with the people who make it possible. And we've been continuing to evolve our policies to better reflect people's lives. Things like updating our bereavement language to include not just biological family, but chosen family. So these may all seem like small things individually, but together they reflect something really important: a workplace that is trying to care for its people in real and tangible ways. And for that, I want to thank our people and culture team, our leadership team, our managers, and really all of our employees who help bring this culture to life every day. The second area that we focused on was making food more affordable. We know affordability continues to be the biggest challenge facing our community. And this year, we made a number of intentional choices to help address that. We launched a $2.99 everyday low price milk that's a local milk. It's a simple but powerful step toward making everyday staples more accessible. We hope to expand this program in the coming year. In just 3 months of running this program, we've sold 2,200 more gallons of milk than the same 3-month period the prior year. We've expanded both our traditional sales programs and added new promotional efforts to help keep prices even lower. We funded, when the funding cuts happened with SNAP, we made the decision to self-fund Double Up Bucks, which helps stretch SNAP dollars for fresh produce and makes healthy food more accessible. We also launched our free membership program, reducing barriers to participation, making the co-op more accessible to more people. And during a period of uncertainty around SNAP benefits, we stepped in to help cover gaps, supporting both our customers and our employees during that challenging time. These decisions definitely aren't always easy financially, but they do reflect who we are as a cooperative, balancing sustainability with access and working to make good food available to as many people as possible. For this, I wanted to recognize our merchandising teams, marketing team, store teams, and front-end employees, because these programs only work because of those people implementing them every day. The third and last area, I promise, that I wanted to highlight is supporting local. And this is one of the things that makes our co-op truly special and something that our teams continue to deepen year after year. This year, we strengthened our relationships with local farms and increased the amount of local food, especially through our co-op kitchen. where many of our protein sources and more of our vegetables are coming from local farms. We also built and moved into a new kitchen space, which is creating a much better working environment for our team and setting us up to expand local sourcing even further. This year, we've added more than 1,000 new items from local vendors to our shelves, and we strengthened partnerships across the region. And what I love about this work is how collaborative it is across our whole community. When we decided to try and offer the everyday low price milk, that meant our merchandising team heading over to McNamara Farm, sitting down at the dinner table at the farmhouse, and brainstorming how we could help the community face these challenging times together. It meant store teams and marketing team working together to make more space on the shelves and get the word out. We did the same thing with a company called Just Cut, who helps process food from local farms for large institutions. We visited their facility, collaborated to develop a partnership that helps us provide fresh local ingredients in our prepared foods. And in our bakery cases, you may have noticed Woodland Fairy Bagels, which is another example of us heading over to the bakery, sitting down at the table together and problem solving how we can scale production for our community. I think this is what practicing the skill of cooperation looks like behind the scenes, people coming together to solve problems and building something that supports the needs of our owners and community. When I think about all of this, supporting our employees, making food more affordable, supporting local, I don't just see programs, I see cooperation in action. I see people choosing to listen, choosing to compromise, choosing to build something together. And I think that matters, especially right now, because if we can do that in our little corner of the Upper Valley, what could we do as a state, as a country, as a world? Sometimes the work we do looks like just running a grocery store or an automotive shop. But when I step back and think about all the things that make this work nearly impossible, razor thin margins, a complex food system, 35,000 owners, 360 employees, and an ever-changing world, and then I look at the people here who are making cooperation magic happen every single day, it gives me hope. We might be small, but we have a mighty impact on this community. And every year, our teams work to increase that impact. We talk a lot internally about creating what we want to see in the world and showing up in a way that makes people proud to be a part of our community. And I am so very thankful to our employees, our members, our farmers, our community partners, and everyone who comes together to solve problems and support one another. I have never been more proud to be a part of this team because what we're building together isn't just a grocery store or an automotive services shop. It's a community choosing cooperation and showing what's possible when we do. Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate your leadership along with the operational team's leadership. Thank you guys for everything that you do. With the steady leadership, just, it makes everything and all of us come together. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. All right, so we're going to go on to co-op finances. Peggy O'Neill, I'll let you go from there.
First, Amanda, I want to thank you and all the employees. That was such a timely and inspiring update. So thank you very much for that and for grounding us in what is special about the co-op and that we have the co-op in our community. So good evening again. So this evening, our financial report will be presented by Thomas White, Director of Finance, and I'll introduce Thomas in a couple of minutes. But to sort of set the tone for the financial update, as you listen to Thomas walk through our financials, I invite you to visualize and think about all the people, co-op members, shoppers, farmers, vendors, community partners, and our co-op employees, and all the activities involved in creating the numbers, over $90 million of numbers that Thomas will review with you. Our financials tell us an important part of our co-op story, our business, and more importantly, our presence and our impact in our cooperative community and in the Upper Valley. Nearly every day throughout the year, I, as a co-op member and shopper, know I can walk into any one of our stores in Hanover, White River Junction, in Lebanon, and into the service centers and shop, get gas, and get my car serviced. Before the doors open for us, we can count on co-op employees to prepare our stores for business, for our arrival, to be ready for us to come into co-op space each and every day. As I've shared in the past, the store I most often shop in is the Lebanon store. When I walk through the doors, I see the buckets of beautiful flowers, discounted specials on the left, and the service desk on the right for anyone who has a question or needs some assistance. Then I'm in the store and I'm ready to shop. I usually have my list and I enjoy going up and down the aisle, seeing both familiar and new local products. And then when I get to the checkout, I'm inevitably fumbling in my bag to find my co-op member card to give to an ever patient and friendly cashier. And no, even after 25 years, I still have not memorized my number. And I'm just one of thousands of shoppers our co-op will serve day in and day out. Then when the Lebanon and other store closes and before it opens the next morning, I imagine magic happens. Receipts are reconciled, inventory is checked and adjusted, shelves are restocked, stores are cleaned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And voila, our co-op stores are now ready for us the next day. Yes, this co-op, our co-op, it's a business. It's a business grounded in values and cooperative approaches. And it's our very special cooperative. Thank you to all the co-op employees for all you do, the seen and the unseen, to make our cooperative work so well. As you listen to Thomas present our financial reports, perhaps try and visualize all the people and actions that are involved in the co-op constellation each and every day, ensuring our co-op is here, what we see and much of what we don't see. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Thomas White, Director of Finance. Thomas became Director of Finance in mid-February and previously was the co-op's controller. He's been with the co-op for over 5 years and has worked through various positions within the finance department. He has an MBA with a concentration in sustainability leadership, and his approach to financial leadership is through a collaborative approach and a thoughtful understanding of our operations and values, balancing financial health with our values. So a huge thank you to Thomas and to the finance team. And now I turn it over to Thomas to share the financial update.
All right, thank you, Peggy, for that introduction. All right, sorry, I'm having some technical issues right now, so April is going to help me with this slideshow. All right. So, April, if you want to go to the next slide. So I'll start off. So with the income statement of 2025 versus 2024 actuals, gross sales across all business units were just over 92 million in 25. Year over year, this represents an increase in gross sales of approximately 652K. Percentage-wise, this is a 0.71% increase year over year. Net sales were approximately 90.7 million for the year. Year over year, we saw an increase in net sales by approximately 748K. Again, percentage-wise, this is an increase of approximately 0.83%. Since we sold more, our cost of sales also increased year over year, predominantly due to buying and selling more product. I'd like to note that our gross margin increased to approximately 32.59% in 2025. It was 32.27% in 2024. So we saw a very slight increase in gross margin year over year as well. Our gross profit was 29.56 million, which represents a $535,000 increase year over year. Store wages and benefits increased year over year as well, but store wages and benefits as a percentage of sales also saw a slight decrease year over year. So overall, our total operating expenses were approximately 28.83 million. This is 159K more than the prior year. And while there are many factors involved in this, the rising cost of healthcare played a significant role in operating expenses being higher in 2025 than they were in 2024. Overall, income from operations was approximately 737,000, more than double what it was the prior year. As our auditors noted when they presented the financial statements to the board a couple weeks ago, we had a strong year when compared to last year and years past. Following the closure of CCM and its operations in October of 2024, our auditors advised that a GAAP-mandated impairment was necessary for the associated building and equipment fixed assets. Therefore, at the end of 2025, we recognized a non-cash impairment loss of 679,000 at year-end. To be clear, this was a required accounting write-off to remain compliant and did not involve an actual cash outlay of 679,000. After our provision for income taxes calculated by an external tax team, we had a net loss in 2025 of approximately 33,000. The main thing to take away here is that our income from operations themselves was significantly higher year over year. April, if you could go to the next slide, please. So our balance sheet. I'll just quickly go over a couple of changes to our balance sheet as of the end of 2025. Mainly our cash and cash equivalents at the end of 25 had risen significantly. Our investments dropped 440K year over year. This is due to us liquidating 500K in investments for capital projects. Primarily, the capital project that we funded was the renovation of the new kitchen space. Another large change to note is that our right of use assets increased significantly. This is predominantly due to the co-op entering into a lease extension with the White River Junction location. Okay, we can go to the next slide, please. Food store sales metrics. So the top graph shows net sales at each location year over year from 21 through 25. Year over year net sales, looking at fiscal years 24-25, increased in all three stores. Net sales rose year over year by approximately 3.75% in Hanover, 3.31% in Lebanon, and 0.9% in White River Junction. Even when you factor in the cannibalization of sales gotten due to the co-op community market closing down, net sales year over year for all three food stores in aggregate was 1% more in 2025. Inflation was likely somewhat of a factor in net sales increasing, but inflation for the grocery sector has slowed down considerably in the past 2 years when compared to 2020 through 2023. If anyone wants additional information on how inflation is impacting the grocery industry that we're a part of, I'd recommend they refer to the USDA's Food Price Outlook on the FDA's website or USDA's website. So the bottom left graph is our transaction count. Year over year, we saw an increase in customer counts at Hanover and Lebanon. White River Junction's customer count was slightly higher than it was in 24, but pretty much in line with what it had been the year before. Year over year, the total customer count did decline slightly overall, but this is due to CCM being closed. Our customer count was just under what it was in 23 and 25. The average basket size dropped slightly in Hanover year over year, rose slightly in Lebanon year over year, and again, remained more or less the same in White River Junction. All right, we can go to the next slide. So looking at the service center sales, for the first time in several years, we sold more gallons last year than we had in the previous year. The average price per gallon continued its downward trend in 2025 as it had since its peak in 2022. This is likely the main catalyst as to why we saw a slight increase year over year in gallons of fuel sold. Non-fuel sales dipped slightly for the Norwich Service Center, though overall remained relatively constant in terms of sales from 23 through the end of 25. Park Street sales rose slightly year over year, but was more and less in line with what it had been in 24. Wages and benefits. So during the year ended December 27th, 2025, the co-op's total personnel expense was equal to approximately 20.5% of sales. The average percentage of multi-store co-ops in the US was 24.2%. So we're below the average, which is a good thing. The co-op pay ratio for highest versus lowest paid employee, we were in line with actually below the B Corp, the average for B corporations. We're beating the average for B Corp, so we're doing well in that regard. And in 2025, as I believe Amanda already mentioned, we had a year-end profit share. In total, this cost the co-op approximately $281,000. I just want to note on this that the profit share was calculated excluding that CCM impairment loss, as that's a non-cash adjustment required by GAAP. We didn't want to penalize the employees because of this accounting adjustment that was required. So additional financial data that aligns with our core values. So yeah, local and sustainable sales. We had a lot of them. 16.42 million in sales for local products, 6 million in sales from certified B Corps, 16.24 million in sales from USDA organic products, 1.25 million in sales from fair trade products, 4.38 million in sales from co-op owned products, and 8.7 million in sales from zero waste products. So millions and millions in sales for local and sustainable goods. As far as community impact, in 2025, our Pennies for Change program received approximately $88.8 thousand. 80% of these funds were distributed to food access nonprofits, about 71,000, and 20% were distributed to the co-op's community partners, which equated to about 17.8 thousand. So that's a very that concludes like a very high level overview of the co-op's 2025 financials. Yeah, I'll turn the floor back over to Amanda or April.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much for all of the hard work and dedication that your team put into preparing the report. We'll take the time to entertain some member comments and questions. So we'll open the floor for comments and questions from members. Looks like we have a hand from Margaret.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to know how you expect the stopping of car inspections will affect our service centers.
Hey, Margaret. I can take
Hey
that
there.
one. It's a good question, and it's been back and forth. I think we aren't clear on, we're not expecting a massive impact on it at this point, but it's hard to tell because a lot of the work that we get from inspections, like when you take your car in for an inspection and we find that you need your brakes done or something, it can be a good source of work. We don't have enough tracking to know how much of that work is impacted. We are trying to encourage people to continue doing it because it's really doing some kind of checks on an annual basis, because it's just a really good practice to be in. So we are watching it very carefully, trying to make sure to keep folks updated and hoping that it doesn't impact our business too substantially. But good question.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Kim.
Hi there. I'm a longtime member of the co-op, like probably greater than 30 years. And I'm just wondering how members are affected by good or bad years. Like I remember in the days when things were done through the USPS mail, that sometimes I would get a check and sometimes I would get like an explanation of why there's no check, but usually an update on the number of shares that I had. And I haven't gotten one of those for a long time. And I'm just wondering, like, do we have accounts? Like, I mean, I know I have a number, but is there a way to check on those things or do you push them out to members and I just don't know where they are? which
Hey,
could
Kim.
very well
Yeah.
be the case.
No, thank you. Good question. A couple of pieces to it. One, we would usually only issue something like that in years that we do what's called a patronage refund. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. You can absolutely always find that information. Our member services customer relations team can always look up whatever you spent for the year, how many shares you have. They can get that really quickly for you. We don't proactively reach out to members with it, but a quick phone call, email, there's lots of ways to get in touch. Easy email address is comment@Co-op Food Store. And that box is monitored basically every day of the week, and somebody can get back to you quickly. So the reason we used to do checks for members is something called a patronage refund. So patronage refunds happen for co-ops on years when a co-op does really well financially and can give some of that money back. It's basically like we got more money from members than we actually needed to operate our business. And so what we would do is give that money back. We haven't done a patronage refund since I think about 2014 at this business. And even that there had been probably 3 to 4 years before that. It used to be a practice that was more common, and we were able to do that decades ago, and it has become increasingly more challenging for the co-op to do that. It is something that could happen in the future, and we would love for that to be the case in the future. But typically, like this year with the CCM impairment, we're not technically profitable, so it wouldn't be a year where we would give that money back. Years where we have renovations, I think just, the cost of doing business has become increasingly more expensive. So that puts a lot of pressure on those dollars. We are working very hard on I think people are always working very hard at the co-op to make sure that we are able to pay all of our bills and hopefully make enough to give a patronage refund. It just hasn't happened, and we're working to get back to that in the future. So thank you. That was a good question.
Well, and thank you for that explanation and for making this meeting available online. I really appreciate the meeting and your answer. Thank you.
Thanks.
Like we have a question from Nicole. Nicole, go ahead.
Well, it also might be a hand from before, so we can see if it's not, we can help get that done. But
Okay.
others out there with thoughts or questions?
All right. Seeing that there are no other questions, before we close, I'd like to invite anyone who would like to stay on to remain on. We're going to have a brief introduction of the 2026 board candidates, and just going to be very brief because we're going to have some other events before we close voting for the month of April. So if you would like to stay on, we would definitely appreciate it. But seeing that there are no other questions, we can officially close the annual meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for attending. It was great to be on with you all today. And thank you to the operations team for all of your reports and just all of the dedication that you put into preparing. So thank you, everyone. All right. Okay, so we have our 2026 board candidates. Today we have Jocelyn with us on, I believe, and then Kelsey and Lynn Ellen could not make it today. But Josh, if you would like to just introduce yourself, just say, what brought you here to run for the board, where you're from, and just your aspirations and things like that. So we'd love to hear from you.
Certainly. Thank you. So my name is Josh Joslin. I grew up in Heartland, Vermont, and attended Hartford High School. Lived here pretty much most of my life, bounced around New England a little bit when I first started my career out of college. But yeah, I think kind of what drew me to the co-op is I used to work at the co-op, so it was my only job before college. I started as a bagger at Lebanon, kind of did it all. Worked in the cafe, grocery, brief stint in the deli. So yeah, I've made a lot of good relationships over the years. I think at this point in my life, definitely want to kind of contribute back to the co-op. It means a lot to me. We live in White River Junction today. I shop there probably, I don't know, 3, 4 times a week, it seems like. But yeah, I've just really kind of grown to love the people, and it's been important to me. So yeah, definitely just looking back to contribute and work with this team. It seems like you got a good group here, and yeah, just welcome the opportunity. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh. We are excited to have you as a candidate this year. We appreciate you for your willingness to want to join the board. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you today, everyone. I don't know if there are any other questions we're willing to entertain, but if there are not, like I said, thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate your time. And all right, happy 90th. Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here, folks. Great to be with you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay, thank you.
Night.